Hi and welcome to the Convergence Summit North 2010. One of the key talking points at Convergence Summit North this year is market conditions. Let's hear what some of the views are from the vendors on the stands.
We've seen consistent growth year on year, double digit throughout the last 2 to 3 years. We're forecasting that again for the year ahead. I think the world is changing. I don't think we're bumping along the bottom in this country because I don't think we know what the bottom is. We've had a good economy for many, many years and we're continuing to do business. I was delighted that last year our sales were pretty well the same as last year despite a 38% drop in the PABX market, and we made no one redundant, and in fact we recruited. Very slowly the Western economies are moving forward.
2010 feels like a very different year than 2009 did. I mean, I think we came back after Christmas. We were coming out of recession, and then it was the environment was very, very different. We hit the ground running as we came back. Lots of orders coming through. People with renewed interest in making investments. Something's changed in 2010. The market is a lot more comfortable. They're feeling a little bit confident about the future that we've got within the country, and the economy is improving, and that's noticeable. It's actually noticeable. If I look at our sales growth, if I look at some of our customer sales growth, it's very, very different to how it was in 2009. So, we're excited. We're excited about the opportunities 2010 provide.
Once the election's out the way, I think that's something everybody's waiting for. Everybody wants to know where they're going, who's leading, who's driving the whole country. Once that's out the way, irrespective of who gets into power, I do think there'll be a greater degree of confidence in the economy, perhaps more investment, and I do think as the year progresses, things will start to improve.
The situation is fiercely competitive out there. We all have to do our numbers. The pressure's on from the finance guys and the shareholders and the backers. Really pleased to report that the level of business and the size of our pipeline, the level of our pre-sales activity is growing all of the time. So there's some positive signs there. The level of activity and invitation to tenders we're involved with is steadily increasing.
Sitting next to one of my colleagues in BT Wholesale today, I'm reminded how much of the market there is still to go at, and I think that goes for the 2,000 odd telecoms companies that exist in the UK. There is going to be plenty of change. There's going to be winners and losers. The market's not consolidating, it's not getting any smaller. You come to events like this and you see how many new telcos are emerging, how many guys are just evolving, and how many people are zigzagging and changing direction regularly, which is for the good of the business.
I don't think it's any secret that hardware sales are under pressure. For the reasons why hosted is doing well, hardware sales, phone systems are coming under pressure, and people are delaying decisions, and so resellers are looking for other sources of revenue. What's on the rise is data networks. In the UK, about 24% of SMEs now have an MPLS network, which is, to me, amazing. But even more so, in the next 18 months, 25% are going to buy one. Now that's between 150,000 and 200,000 companies are going to buy an MPLS network. So what we're finding is all of our savvy resellers are switching into this type of sale. If you have a situation as you have now where there is already explicit demand in the market and the product is worth selling, i.e. it's a good average value product and it's good margin, then you are going to think about diverting resources. So we're seeing a lot of our resellers who've traditionally been just selling calls and lines and broadband are now starting to find in their base, it might only be 4 or 5 sites, 4 or 5 lease lines and 10 home workers. You could be talking between 5 and 10, 15,000 pounds a month. Because the market is growing at such a rate and because supply hasn't really caught up, they're making 40, 50, 60% margins on those. That's what's growing in the market for us.
we're getting a lot of new business. We're working harder for the pound. I think everyone would admit that they're having to work harder to get the same kind of rewards. But there's still an awful lot of opportunity out there. We're optimistic that we'll grow this year. We're optimistic that we'll improve on profits from last year, but we're being very cautious in the way that we do that. And we're going to change the shape of our business to reflect the changes in customers' attitudes and tastes.
As is always the case in a tough economic climate, you've got to do the simple things better and better and better. You've got to have flexibility. You've got to look to add values to your customers at all times.
We've noticed this year, well, from the back end of last year, that businesses have started to be more positive, be more optimistic. We are seeing some more traction, and I think by the third quarter of this year, we'll start to see things become a bit more comfortable.
There is a lot of movement. A lot of quotes were being placed at the back end of last year. We're seeing quite a few starting to drop now. So I'm hoping the meat in the mincer is actually starting to turn my sausage machine.
Gamma as a company, we were very lucky. Last year was the best year we've ever had. So if we can top that in 2010, we'll be very, very pleased. So I think overall I'm relatively comfortable in the sense that I think there's a degree of realism, that there's still good business to be done, and if we're really honest about it, particularly in our market, these bad times do weed out some of the companies that you're never quite sure how they existed in the first place. So I wouldn't say I love where we've been in the last 18 months, but it hasn't been too bad and it's looking better.
Technology is continuing to advance, that's delivering more and more benefits both to businesses and to consumers, and as long as that continues, there's opportunity for all in the channel.
What we see is, irrespective of what the conditions in the marketplace, it's the people in this room, in this exhibition, that are making things happen in the market. You know, they're pushing forward and they're following their own strategies, and I think that there will be some losers this year, and I think there'll be an awful lot of winners this year. And I think that there's a lot of companies around here who are finding their niche, and they're cleverly focusing down on the sorts of customers that they want to work for, and I think that they will succeed. And we're really excited about the next 12 months.
I'd like to thank all of our exhibitors and visitors for supporting the event, and thank you for tuning in.